Y'all, I don't know what my devices are doing today, but well, this one device, but it's got a mind of its own. Anyway, let's get into it because what I'm not gonna do is play with the truth today. Now, hey everybody, before I get into the shenanigans, hey y'all, happy, what is this, Thursday? I was getting ready to do something, I can't even remember what it was. But anywho, happy Thursday, y'all. The truth, I'm not gonna play with you, okay? I had nothing to do with that photo. I'm not gonna have you blaming me for your shenanigans. I'm not gonna do it. Y'all, the truth. What is wrong with you, man? Like, what is honestly wrong with you? I mean, okay, you will behave. Okay. Wait a minute. I know what I was getting ready to do. I needed to go pin a comment. Hey y'all, hey y'all, hey. I really hate to come in here and have to, just start going off, The truth is awful. Awful. Y'all give me a minute. Let me concentrate. Cause he done threw me off. Had me pushing the wrong buttons and everything. Oh my goodness. Hey y'all, hey y'all. Happy Thursday, like I say. Thank y'all so much for joining me. He gonna talk about, am I in the right account? Hold on. I'm in the right, no, I'm not. I'm not in the right account. Hold on, y'all. See, I told y'all he done threw me off. Now I'm gonna be thrown off for the entire life. It's ridiculous. Then you got Money Boy Trey. You know what? Shh. Hold on, y'all. Y'all don't understand. Nobody knows the trouble I see. Yeah, you did. Yeah, yeah, Cam. Hey, Cam. Hey, y'all. Come on in. Hey, T. Hey, Misty. Hey, Miss Rice Cake. Y'all come on in. I'm finna get started because I'm finna get started before I just shut it all down. Happy Thursday, y'all. Like I said, thank y'all so much for joining me for this live. I appreciate it so much. Y'all be sure to make sure to hit the like button for your girl. Feel free to support the channel. And we're going to get into our true crime today, okay? Let me check my text. And I'm sort of kind of, scared to check this text message, but I'm going to check it. Oh, wow. Okay, so let's get into it. Today's story, y'all, it's a sad one, of course. They're all sad. But this is something I feel like we have to talk about. We need to talk about because some of these cases, I mean, some of these cases, just like with the Shanquilla Robinson case, is it Robinson? I think it's Robinson. I have no issue with the coverage that case is getting, even though there's a lot of false information going around. Y'all be careful. Y'all be careful on what not necessarily what you watch, because I guess you have to watch it to know, but just be careful about what you take in, because a lot of times these content creators on YouTube, they just put out anything. I think they put out what they think people want to hear or whatever, but it's a lot of false information. Like when I was in the Truth Live, was it yesterday? Yeah, yesterday. And his live was that's why I enjoyed the Truth content, because it's not a whole bunch of fluff. And what I mean by a whole bunch of fluff is not a whole bunch of dramatics and lies and making up stuff and making up scenarios. He just gets right down to the truth. He speaks the facts. He talk about the facts. I enjoyed Shelly, um, that came up on his. I always enjoy Miss Liz. Lord knows I enjoy Miss Liz. And I also, like I say, enjoyed Shelly, who came up there and spoke facts. And that's why these, like the takeoff case, the takeoff story, and this story right here, if y'all notice, I haven't done content on them. I haven't done content on them because it's so much out there but then there's so much false information. You don't know what's true, you don't know what's false. And I just don't have the time, trying to do three channels, trying to live my real life and do YouTube. Like, I just don't have the time, because to be honest, I would prefer to just go to the news and not the YouTube for, information on stories. But these people on YouTube will take a story and just make it, to be honest, they make it to where you don't even want to click on the video talking about it. Yeah, S. Hutchinson is Shelly, y'all. If y'all saw Hutchinson in the chat, that was Shelly, the woman, the young lady that hit the what that called in and was speaking. I enjoyed her commentary on it. I enjoy Miss Liz. I enjoy Miss Liz. Just she be just she she just make me laugh. But yeah, like I say, a lot of this stuff on YouTube, to me, to be honest, it make me not even want to click on a video that's talking about certain subjects because they do too much. Like, they honestly do too much, and I just can't. So I just let y'all just go wherever, to get those stories. I'd rather talk about these stories. I said all that to say this. I have no issue with the coverage well, I do have an issue, the false information, but other than that, I feel like her story needs to be talked about. I feel like it needs to be out there. But to be honest, y'all, I feel like all these stories need to be talked about and out there. It's a lot of, black women that, have been killed or have been, killed, and it's like they take certain situations or certain stories and they just overdo it. You feel me? Like, I feel like everybody that's gone through that or had to deal with that, all families deserve for their family member story to be put out there. You feel me? I just feel like sometimes it's an injustice in trying to get justice. And by that I mean, like, I get it. I get the coverage, I get the situation, I get it. But it's a lot of stories out there. So I just let the other channels handle those big stories, and I talk about, cases where I feel like it's not enough coverage. What's up, Money Boy Trey? I guess he ain't talking, y'all. I don't think he already at work, but he ain't saying nothing. But anywho, he'll jump in, y'all. Yeah, yeah, it's a lot, me lady sunflower. We be a lot, and I see y'all in the chat. I apologize for not speaking. Let me pull the chat up. I apologize for not speaking, coming in, y'all, but I see all of y'all, and I thank y'all so much. Y'all can also drop the truth. You can drop a S. Doesn't S Hutchinson have a channel? And I think she talks about the Shanquilla Robinson case as well. If I listen to anybody, it'd be you and her. I just can't listen to all these other people. I ain't gonna tell no word a lie. Like I say, it's just too much. It's too much to decipher. What I do with my own? It's too much to decipher. It's too much to try to figure out what's real and what's fake. And I just can't. Happy Thursday, Jamila. And I just can't. Yeah, you can drop her link if you want to, The Truth. Y'all make sure y'all go over there and check her out. Let her know Truth Hurts and The Truth sent you over there and support her. I'm gonna be honest and say I really haven't watched her channel. Like, I'm gonna go and watch it and watch her content, but I haven't yet. So, but yeah, I like I say, I enjoyed the way she spoke about the case and stuff, and she also spoke about, all the false information that's being put out there. You know what I mean? So yeah, if y'all feel it in your spirit, hit that link, go over there and check her out. Like I say, if I listen to anything about this case, it'll be those two channels. I'm not doing all that extra mess. I can't do it. To me, this stuff I already be sad, and then for to get all this extra stuff going on, I can't do it. But today we're gonna be talking about Miss. Let me get her name right, y'all. I know I don't want to mispronounce her name. Her name is Miss Lintel Washington, right? Miss Lintel Washington was a school teacher, I believe. Um, she had a daughter, I know, uh, at the time of her passing, and she was also pregnant at the time of her passing, and she was murdered by her married lover, which I think, if I'm not mistaken, was probably her boss. They so busy trying to out. Yeah, yeah, the truth. That's right. That's what it is. It's a competition. And I don't know why it has to be that. You feel me? Like, I don't get it. But yeah, I can't do it, y'all. I rather talk about, you know, the cases that's not talked about so much. You feel me? So with that being said, like I said, this young beautiful woman name is Lintel Washington, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna listen to a video of a very in-depth coverage of the case. But what I'm gonna do first is I'm gonna read an article just to let y'all know what the scenario is, what happened to her, and things of that nature. So let me pull it up. And I'm gonna read an article, but we're gonna mostly listen to a video, y'all. We're gonna listen to a video. I'm gonna read this article that was written by ABC News 7. Thank you, T. Keep dropping it for me, sweetie. I'll put it up when I get ready to read. Oh yeah, the truth. Oh yes, it is. Okay, let's get into it, y'all. This article was written Tuesday, October, well, it was put out Tuesday, October the 11th, 2022. Okay, October of 2022. All right, so this is the deal. In June 2016, a 3-year-old girl was found wandering alone in a parking lot in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, near a car that was splattered with blood. She wasn't wearing any shoes, and her feet, it's a foot, well, I guess one of her feet was speckled in dry blood. A good Samaritan who found her kept her calm as he called 911 to get help. Oh, okay, Trey. Did you dropped out? Okay, just come back when you're done. Okay. All right, y'all. And listen, when I'm reading, y'all, I don't see a lot that's going on in the chat. So minds be on the alert for me, please. If I miss any comments, y'all, please let me know I missed them when I come back. Well, while reading, I'm not reading the chat. Y'all make sure y'all hit that like button for your girl and feel free to support the channel, okay? The Good Samaritan said I started asking her, well, where is mommy? Where's mommy's car? And she pointed to her mom's car. Leslie Palms, hold on, y'all. Hello, Trey.
Hello, hello.
What's happening?
I think I'm here.
What do you mean? I can hear you.
That's good. I'm here then.
Oh, okay, yeah. You've been having trouble with your devices. Is it just me and you both, or what? What is it?
Something going on in the South. They hating on us.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. All right, good. You came just in time to hear this story. I really wanted you and the truth to comment on this story. Okay, so I'm gonna start back where it says the Good Samaritan that found the little girl said, I started asking her, where's mommy? Where's mommy's car? And she pointed to her mom's car. Leslie Palms, who was the Samaritan, told 2020. The girl's mother, who police would later learn was Lintel Washington, a beloved teacher, was missing. What the girl revealed would lead investigators to uncover events, including a secret love affair surrounding the murder of Washington, who was pregnant when she was killed. A special, and y'all, I'm gonna listen. I think I'm gonna pull up that special that was done on 2020. It's on Hulu. I have Hulu, and not this live. It may be a part two where we can listen to the special that they did on 2020. Okay. A special 2020 now streaming on Hulu takes a look at Washington's murder and how her daughter helped crack the case. Washington, 40, she was 40, was a single mother working at Brookstown Middle Magnet Academy in Baton Rouge. She was popular among school staff and students and was once even named Teacher of the Year at a previous school. She met Robert Marks. There you go, The Truth. You're right. The Truth, you know about this story? I guess so. That's his name. Robert Marks, who was an assistant principal at Brookstown, and the two began secretly dating as Marks was married at the time. All right, me Margie. Have a good day at work, boo. Melissa Mason, a close friend of Washington, told 2020 that Washington told her that Marks had said that he and his wife were going through a divorce but living in the same home. That's the you know what y'all? That's the epic. That's the infamous lie. That's the infamous lie that they tell when they be creeping. That's that infamous lie.
No comment.
I know it ain't no comment because it's the truth. That's that lie. Going through a divorce while staying in the same house. Hmm. He did say that he did say that there was this two-story house and the wife was upstairs and he was downstairs. Mason told 2020. Washington would learn she was pregnant with Mark's child. A week before she went missing, she revealed the news to a friend, Jamaica Pink Fisher, who was another Brookstown assistant principal. He's facing charges of second-degree murder, first-degree aggravated kidnapping. Oh wow, there you go, the truth. Um, Washington found out that Marks was not getting a divorce, and in fact was on a cruise with his wife. According to Mason, the news made Washington furious. She sent text messages to Marks demanding he tell her the truth and also wanted to know if he was committed to supporting her and their child. Marks and Washington met up later that night. After Washington's daughter was found in the parking lot, detectives questioned Marks, who admitted to the affair. He said he and Washington were together the previous night and said Washington's daughter was with them. Okay. Washington's body was found a week later in an irrigation ditch at a sugarcane field. Investigators said she was shot in the head and her body was dumped in the ditch later. I remember I just dropped to the floor and then my husband caught me. Mason said I just couldn't process she was found dead. That was the friend, y'all. As detectives continued to investigate the case, they had a big lead from Washington's daughter. During Palm's 911 call, the girl is heard saying, Mr. Robbie put the blood there, apparently referring to Washington's car. She knew who left her in the parking lot, Palms told 2020. And I hate to do this, y'all, but I like to put a face with the name, even though, he's disgusting. But y'all know I'm a visual person, so I imagine other people are as well. But this is him. This is him. Okay. Anywho. Um the girl will repeat that Mr. Robbie put the blood there when an officer came to the scene. Okay. Fisher, who came to the scene and told investigators about the affair, said Mr. Robbie was what the girl called women. Fisher, who came to the scene and told investigators about the affair, said Mr. Robbie was what the girl called Marks. So the girl called him Mr. Robbie. Fisher would accompany the girl to a counseling center where she was interviewed by counselors. There she again said that that Marks put blood in the car and revealed more details. You hear the little girl in her own voice saying, Mr. Robbie put the blood in my car. I heard a bang. My mom started shaking. My mama's asleep by a lake. Oh my God. Chuck Smith, an investigator with the East Baton Rouge District Attorney's told 2020. Investigators will also discover that Marks was seeing a third way. See, they cheat on their wife, they'll cheat on you. Listen, y'all, and this is my first time reading this stuff. So yeah. Investigators will also discover that Marks was seeing a third woman, unbeknownst to his wife and Washington. Cell phone records show Marks and Tremeka Jackson exchanged several text messages and calls on the night of Washington's disappearance. Jackson came forward to the police upon seeing news reports about Washington and cooperated with investigators. She said Marks had called her the night of Washington's disappearance and asked to be picked up. The location was near the parking lot where Washington's daughter was found. Dumbass. And then that's the thing. Like, you already a cheater. You already just ain't shit. And then you're dumb. You're just dumb. I'm sorry. He's dumb. Lord have mercy. Marks was arrested and charged with second-degree murder, feticide, and other charges. During the trial, prosecutors played video of the girl's interview where she relayed the events of the night her mother was killed. They also pointed out inconsistencies in Mark's alibi to police and offered evidence that he searched the internet for guns shortly after Washington had a sonogram that revealed the baby she was carrying was a girl. I told the jury I'm going to pull up his Google records. I'm going to take his phone records. I'm going to take his computer, and I'm going to pull out all that in a pot, and I'm going to cook it up. Tony Clayton, the the district attorney, told 2020. Let's serve it to him cold like that ice cold water that runs through his veins, he said. Mark's defense attorney argued that the evidence was circumstantial. He didn't call any witnesses or offer a closing argument. In December 2021, y'all, this was just a year ago. In December 2021, a jury convicted Marks after deliberating for 30 minutes. He was sentenced to life in prison without parole 2 months later. Mark's wife filed for a divorce after the verdict. In 2020, she was shocked to learn of his multiple affairs. Washington's daughter, who is now 9, lives with her father, Darren Glasper. Glasper told 2020 that there are good and bad days, but he's helping her through the trauma. Sometimes she say, I miss my mommy. I wish my mommy was here, he told 2020. I said, I do too, but mommy's in heaven with the angels now, Lord Jesus. Whew, Jesus, that's... Police said cell phone records show Mark's phone as well as a phone belonging to Washington were in the room area around. Yup, both phones were in that area for about 15 minutes before returning to Baton Rouge. Hey guys, all right, y'all. Let me see. Let me see that I have another article because I want y'all to listen to this video. This is just sad. This is sad. Let me see. Okay, this article says daughter and twin. She was a twin, y'all. Daughter and twin sister of slain teacher takes the stand. Hold on, it's coming up. Let me see what it says. Thank you, D True. Thank you. It really is a truth. Yeah, Lisby, this is sad. Daughter and twin sister of slain teacher take stand as murder trial begins for former school administrator. The trial of Robert Marks, a former school administrator accused of killing a pregnant teacher in 2016, got underway with opening statements on Tuesday, December the 14th. Marks, a former assistant principal at a Baton Rouge middle school, is accused of killing Lintel Washington, 40, a pregnant teacher. Washington was found shot to death in Iberville Parish. She was 7 months pregnant at the time of her death. Mark is facing charges of second-degree murder, first-degree feticide, aggravated kid. There go what D Truth had put in, y'all. He was facing charges of second-degree murder, first-degree feticide, aggravated kidnapping, second-degree kidnapping, illegal use of a weapon for counts, and obstruction. The case was dismissed by the 19th Judicial District in East Baton Rouge Parish and moved to the 18th Judicial District in Iberville Parish. Opening statements by both District Attorney Tony Clayton and Defense Attorney Lionel Barnes were heated, charged, and at times emotional, especially when Clayton talked about how Washington's young child was found wandering around a parking lot with her mother's blood on her. The jury became, oh my goodness, the jury became visibly emotional when Clayton talked about the death of Washington's unborn child. Clayton asked the jury to be a wall of justice and to deliver gumbo justice. Hey, baby. Had a good day at school? Good. I'll talk to you when I get off, okay? Love you. Um, let's see. The jury became visibly emotional when Clayton talked about the death of Washington's unborn child. Clayton asked the jury to be a wall of justice and to deliver gumbo justice, not like they have in New Orleans, but it should be ice cold, just like the ice cold water running through his veins. In his opening, Burns challenged Clayton repeatedly, asking where the hard evidence is. It was an apparent reference to former District Attorney Ricky Ward. Burns said that the DA was seemingly relying on cell phone data that shows Mark's movements on the night of the murder. Lord, Barnes wanted to know where the eyewitnesses are and pointed out a murder weapon was never found. It appears the only eyewitness to the murder is Washington's child, which from the way that little girl spoke, that was enough. Hell, that was enough. She was enough with his dumb ass. The child would likely be a focal point of the defense. Washington was reported missing the morning of June 9, 2016, after her 3-year-old daughter was found in Baton Rouge alone near her vehicle, which had blood inside it. Burns repeatedly told the jury that Clayton was trying to fit a square peg into a round hole. Before breaking for lunch, Clayton called his first witness, Leslie Parnes, who found Washington's 3-year-old daughter wandering around the parking lot. Parnes initially called 911 and the tape of that conversation was played in court. The child could be heard repeatedly telling Parnes, Mr. Robbie did this to her mom and my mommy went to sleep. Police said cell phone records show Mark's phone as well as a phone belonging to Washington were in the, is that Ramah area around, I'm sure you know how to pronounce it, D-Truth, around 9:45 p.m. on June 18, 2016. Both phones were in that area for about 15 minutes before returning to Baton Rouge, according to police documents. According to the probable cause report, the child told investigators that Mr. Robbie heard her mother and she was now sleeping. It also revealed the child was with her mother and Marks when she heard a bang, and after the bang, her mom was shot. He shot the. You listen, y'all. This shit right here made me mad. I mean, you shot the woman in front of her daughter. If the baby saw her mama shaking, y'all, he shot the woman in front of her daughter. Lord have mercy. She also stated her mom's in the lake and it was dark outside when her mom got hurt. Washington's daughter was called to the stand by D.A. Clayton. They called the little girl to the stand. They called her to the stand, y'all. She was 3 when this happened. And I'm imagining she was about 5 or 6 when they prosecuted because it took 2 years. 5 or 6-year-old. Can you imagine a 5 or 6-year-old taking the stand? I mean, at 3, she gave a lie. At 3 years old, she told the cops a lie. He probably thought that baby wasn't going to be able to do that. And thank God, even though he killed his own child, he didn't kill her. You know what I mean? It's just all too much. Washington's daughter was called to the stand by D.A. Clayton. Clayton asked only 2 questions, one confirming a picture of Washington was in fact her mother, and she recognized herself in the video of her forensic interview, which was conducted immediately after she was found following the murder. Burns simply asked her what her favorite subject was in school and if she liked pets. Clayton said the move to call Washington's daughter to the stand was simply legal maneuvering to get evidence admitted to the trial. Child, bye. Um, is it Rama? Rama. Okay. All right. Thank you, D. True. Trial concluded with Washington's identical twin. Well, she has an identical twin, y'all. I should have tried to find that picture. Um, the trial concluded with Washington's identical twin sister, Centel. So her name was Lintel, and the sister's name is Centel. Centel Washington, being called to testify. She largely talked about taking custody of her niece temporarily after the murder and the counseling she provided for the child. That counseling was the subject of intense scrutiny by Burns, who said he was never told that the child had received counseling. What the hell you thought? The baby, what the hell you thought? She needed counseling. That's common sense that the baby was gonna get counseling. Hell, you killed the mama in front of her. Just ignorance, man. He was never told that the child received counseling and questioned by Centel did not turn over the counseling records to assist with the trial. He argued any evidence or statements about murder should have been included in pretrial discovery. Centel told the jury at that time all she cared about was helping her niece and after the murder of her mother. Exactly. Washington was once named Teacher of the Year and was a teacher at Brookstown Middle Magnet Academy at the time of her death. Crews were deployed in the air, on land, and in the water for much of the day Friday, June 10th, searching 5 key areas across South Louisiana, including Baker, Zachary, Baton Rouge, St. Francisville, and Ramah. The multi-agency search was temporarily suspended at nightfall. Her body was eventually found on Tuesday, June 14th, in a ditch in Rosedale in Iberville Parish. The autopsy revealed Washington died from a gunshot wound to the head. Her body was so badly decomposed that officials needed DNA samples to make a positive identification. Dr. Bo Clark, the coroner of East Baton Rouge Parish, said there was no trauma to the body who died of to the baby. I'm sorry. There was no trauma to the baby who died as a result of her mother's death. Marks was the assistant, right? The truth, right? Marks was the assistant principal of the middle school in Baton Rouge where Washington worked, and DNA evidence revealed he fathered Washington's baby. So they did a DNA test on the baby, and he was the pappy. Marks was married to another woman at the time, and investigators suspect he might have been fearful his wife would find out he had gotten Washington pregnant, according to police reports. Okay, that's it. I can't read no more, y'all. Anyway, let's go to this video. We're gonna listen to this video, y'all. Oh, Lord have mercy. See, I can't. Meaning he did not shoot the baby directly, that the death was caused by the. Yeah, because he shot the mama in the head, so, um, yeah. Because the baby, gets oxygen through that cord from the mama, and once the mama wasn't breathing anymore, then of course the baby wouldn't. Um, yeah. All right. Well, it's 2 stories on here. Y'all give me a second. Let me make sure I go to the right one, and then we're gonna get back started. We're gonna listen to this video. Hopefully she's the first story. This is that channel, y'all, and I still gotta put that information in my description box because I want y'all to check this channel out. It's called True Crime Daily. And of course they always have 2 stories. I hope hers is first. If not, I'll read about it. But let's see. Oh, let me make sure my Bluetooth is on. The girlfriend went to his house and saw that it was a mobile home, not a two-story house. Like, ain't that a trip? If he had shot the baby directly, he could have been charged with the child's murder instead of feticide. Okay, D. True. Wow. Mm-mm-mm-mm.
Oh, jury duty.
Hold on.
A word of warning, this podcast explores graphic and disturbing stories and includes some strong language. It therefore may not be suitable for our young listeners or other folks who may find it disturbing. Hello and welcome to True Crime Daily, the podcast covering high-profile and under-the-radar cases from across the country every week. I'm your host, Anna Garcia, and we are recording this on December 16th, 2020. Joining me today is criminal defense attorney Mike Cavaluzzi, who is a friend of the program. Mike, we're so glad you're back. How are you?
It's so good to be here. Happy holidays, Anna.
Happy holidays to you. I see your wreath in the back, and I believe that's a little Christmas tree back there.
Oh, yeah, and I see your stockings and your Christmas Emmys.
Yeah. Garland on the Christmas Emmys, yes.
No, your house looks great for the holidays.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I have some breaking news for you, Mike. Guess what I received yesterday in the mail? A summons for jury duty.
Oh, jury duty. Oh, my God. You know that it's one of the great benefits of being an American is that the Constitution guarantees us the right to a jury trial to be decided on by our peers. So yes. I encourage everyone to abide by their jury summons and call the court. These are obviously really particular times, and there are very few cases going to trial, but there are cases going to trial. That might surprise people, but they're using really creative ways of having criminal cases actually go to trial in front of a jury.
I know. I actually wanted to ask you because they included this like flyer in my summons that says "Here for you, safe for you." And you know, whenever the government is telling me that they're concerned about me and they want to keep me safe, honestly, I'm very skeptical about how much they care about me. But nonetheless, I did go through this, and I do find it interesting that one of the changes they've made for jury duty is that you're no longer going to be sitting there waiting in the room, the assembly room, to be called, where you just basically have to be there and sit all day, which I've always said is a massive waste of time. So because of COVID, they are not doing that. You still have to call in. Then if
I got to remember, this was back in 2020 when COVID first hit. So this was back in the, early days of COVID, y'all.
You do get called in, I guess they must have made arrangements to keep us safe. Do you know how that's? Have you been in court since this crazy pandemic?
I have. I have not myself conducted a trial, but I've watched some trials being conducted during COVID. And you are right that under normal circumstances, there's a big jury room in which all the jurors gather in, and then they're separately called out to courts as they're needed for jury selection. It's done a little differently now. What will happen is a very small number of jurors will be summoned directly to a trial court. So maybe somewhere between 5 and 10, maybe 12 max. They'll go right to a courtroom. They'll sit out in the hallway, socially distanced. They'll be called into the room, and they will be spread throughout the courtroom, including the jury box, and they'll start to get questioned. Normally, we would start with what we call a jury panel of anywhere between 45 and 65 people who would crowd into the courtroom, and we would start the process of jury selection. Now it starts with that.
Wait a minute, I can't do this. Let me find a spot, yeah. Okay, I think I found a spot, y'all. Here we go.
Boys, a Florida woman hid her roommate's dead body in a trash can so she could collect his Social Security checks, and she actually got away with it for a while. But first, a former assistant principal in Louisiana is accused of killing a pregnant teacher who was carrying his baby. The principal was married and having an affair with this teacher who worked at the same school as he did. And apparently the fear of being found out about the affair and the baby was the motivation for the murder, according to authorities. Now, though the murder happened in 2016, Mike, he, the assistant principal, is now facing new charges, and we will explain why 4 years later he hasn't gone to trial and why there's a new set of charges. It's a little complicated, and it has to do with jurisdiction, has nothing to do with the evidence or the actual crime itself. Okay, let's get right to it, Mike.
Wait a minute. D-True, what do you mean? What do you mean the lawyer said, I know you can leave? Now that's interesting. I want to know the story behind that, D-True. I promise you I want to know the story behind that. I got called during the Kwame Perpetual. I was scared, but it was not for that. Oh, wow. D-True, that's child.
Happened. Robert Marks was an assistant principal at a magnet school in Baton Rouge. 40-year-old Lintel Washington was a teacher there, and the two had been having an affair. She was 7 months pregnant with his baby. She was found dead. Now, friends say that Lintel was in love with him. She was swept off her feet. They'd been together for a year, and apparently he had told her when they first got together that he was unhappy with his marriage, that he was in the process of getting a divorce. So obviously he was available for a relationship. You know where this is going, right?
I do.
Yeah, because it's always the same old story.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Lintel was a single mom. She had a 3-year-old daughter. She had been named Teacher of the Year. She was a distinguished educator. And so everything appeared to be going great in her life. New man, new baby on the way. So a fabulous new future on the horizon for her and for her little girl. Okay. But then Lintel found out that the assistant principal had not left his wife. He was actually still married. And all of a sudden she realizes, this is according to friends, she realizes, dear Lord, I'm not the girlfriend. All of a sudden I'm the mistress, and I am not okay with that. That is not the relationship I entered into. So she's obviously very upset about this. And so at the time of Lintel's disappearance and murder, she was pressuring Robert Marks to accept responsibility for the baby, to acknowledge their relationship, and to tell his wife. And friends say that she had threatened that if you don't tell your wife about me and the baby, I will tell her. Okay. So if that's the inciting incident that just triggered a domino of horrible, horrific crimes against this woman, I would say that was it. And of course, that is not the answer nor the solution.
Of course not. But it so often is the unfortunate answer in cases like this, is that when men fear some kind of disclosure to a spouse or a girlfriend, or if they suddenly have to take upon the responsibility of an unwanted pregnancy by the woman they're having an affair with, it is just all too often that they choose this tragic recourse.
It never makes sense to me, Mike. Why kill the person? How in the world is this a better solution to the problem? Yet over and over again, whether it's divorce or the telling of an affair, we see this as the answer. It's unbelievable to me.
Well, you should watch Woody Allen's Crimes and Misdemeanors, because the entire movie is about exactly that. It's about a man who's having an affair, and the woman is threatening to tell his wife, and he thinks that the only answer is to do away with her. And it's an interesting result.
It is, but
Is that Money Boy with the dog in the background? Oh, is it one of these people on this panel? One trial was for 15 days. The other one was for 24.
I have a thing about Woody Allen where I can't watch his movies anymore.
I get it. I understand.
You know, the accusations against him and marrying his adopted daughter. I can't go there.
I hear you.
Okay. And apparently your dog agrees with me. What I find so upsetting, beside the crime itself, is how authorities discovered that Lintel was missing and in danger. It's almost as horrific as the crime itself. So on June 9th of 2016, Lintel's 3-year-old daughter is found walking alone in a parking lot on the street of Baton Rouge. And she's near her mother's car, which is parked, and they're parked near where they live in an apartment building. This little girl is walking around. She's 3 by herself. And
that's what I don't understand, the truth, why he was charged with second degree and not first degree. My question is, did he do it because she told him this? He was charged with second degree. I'm confused about that too. You would rather be in prison. That I don't know why people think that killing somebody is the answer. I just don't get it. Like, it's a lot of people in this world who elevated don't go to the top. I mean, the thing about it is, you was doing something you had no business. You were cheating on your wife. You got the woman pregnant, and instead of owning your shit, owning up to your shit, and facing the damn music, you just take this lady's life and your child. Which means he didn't plan to kill her, but did it out of passion. He could have, because this is the thing, like, according to court records and things of that nature, she told him what happened was she found out he was on a cruise, because he was telling her that him and the wife was getting divorced, but she found out that they were on a cruise together. And I don't know if she called him that night and told him, and when they met up, he kind of figured that's what he was gonna do, or if she told him once they got together, you know what I'm saying, or if she told him once they got together, look, I know you still with your wife, y'all were on a cruise, either you tell her or I am, or something like that. But I was baffled about the charges too.
Her little feet are covered in blood. Turns out that is her mother's blood. It is unbelievable to me what this child has been put through, and what she may have seen and what she may have heard and experienced. It's horrific that anyone, especially an educator, would do this in front of a child.
Yeah, that's what's really, really shocking. I mean, unfortunately, we've seen situations in terms of the motivation for this murder and the circumstances of this murder. We've seen those time and time again, but it is so horrific that this happened in front of a 3-year-old girl, and then that 3-year-old girl.
If I do a part 2, which means he didn't plan to kill him, but if you do a part 2, I get the answer. He may have pleaded down so the child wouldn't have testified. Okay, do that, because I think I'm gonna do a part 2, because I really want to play that 2020 special, because they said they had a lot of details. Then they had interviews with the sister and things of that nature. So I think I am gonna do a part 2 and play that video. So do that for me, D Truth. Thank you.
Was left to just wander the streets, and I just can't even imagine how this will impact the rest of her life, and how there are memories buried deep inside of her that we might not even know yet.
Oh, absolutely. So police get called, right? Because there's an abandoned child walking around with blood on her feet. And incredibly, the little girl, because 3-year-olds can be somewhat verbal, and they're very good at, pointing, leading, right? And so the little girl leads the police to the car. Now, this is her mother's car. And they say that inside the car was a huge amount of blood. But what was really weird was that in the car there was blood, but there were no clear bullet holes or shattered glass or anything else other than blood. The little girl told police that she was with her mother and Mr. Robbie.
Well, Melissa, the old saying is, if you would cheat, you would steal. If you cheat, you would steal. If you would steal, you would kill. You know what I mean? And I don't think everybody goes to that extreme as far as being a cheater or a stealer. But that's what they say. They'd be like, if you cheat, you'll steal. If you steal, you'll kill. Like, I don't understand why people go to that extreme, but they do. Hey, Mr. Blue Truth, when you have a chance, read the story of Kevin. Let me write it down. I be telling y'all to email me this stuff, but of course the Silvers, y'all do what y'all want to do. But I got you, Mr. Blue. Let me see. Kevin Williams and Tracy Todd of Chicago, Illinois. This was a gruesome case also. Okay, let me write it down. Cause y'all, tomorrow we're gonna be covering Miss Rosie's story, y'all. Tracy Todd, Chicago. Okay. I got you, Mr. Blue. Yeah, tomorrow we're gonna be covering Miss Rosie's story, y'all. Robert Marks has been sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole for the 2016 murder of Lintel Washington. Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Which would be what a little girl would probably call an adult, Mr. Robbie. And she said she was with her mom, Mr. Robbie, when she heard a loud noise, and then she saw him cleaning up blood. The little girl also said, Mommy is in a lake, which ultimately ends up being a ditch. But the girl was very clever to know it was water, right?
That's right. That's right.
And so in her brain, it's not just water. It has to be like a lake or a river.
Yeah.
So
that's right.
she was very smart that way.
Mhm.
And then she said, she told police that Mr. Robbie hurt her mother and that she was now sleeping. None of this is good.
Yeah.
And when you see the amount of blood, so obviously police know this is a dangerous situation, meaning if she is indeed still alive, if the mother's still alive, they have to act quickly. So massive search begins by air, by land, bloodhounds, everything you can possibly imagine, but they cannot find the mother's body. In the meantime, as several days pass, it'll be about 5 days or so from the time that the little girl is found walking around until her mother's body is found. In that time frame, police start doing what they do. They start interviewing. Well, they want, obviously the first thing police want to know is, who is Mr. Robbie?
Mm-hmm.
And that doesn't take long to figure out because obviously her friends and family knew she was in a relationship with him. So they start interviewing and they start getting an entirely different story. Now they know that there's an affair. There is some kind of dispute over whether he's going to own up to the baby and do the right thing. Wait a minute, he's married. Hold on a second. She's challenging him. Okay, so they also go through phone records. Obviously, they go through Lintel's phone records, and then ultimately they go through Mr. Robbie's phone records. And here's what's very interesting. In text messages, according to police, Lintel asks Robert if he was, quote, attempting to avoid his responsibilities with our, quote, unborn daughter. That's according to the Associated Press. So now we know they're having a little girl, and what value is that right now? Because remember, the little girl's been found, teacher is missing, and we know she's pregnant and probably lost a lot of blood.
Yeah.
So that information is going to point police, right?
Yeah.
To Mr. Robbie.
Right to Mr. Robbie. And also it makes the crimes that much more serious because it triggers a kidnapping charge. It triggers a separate murder charge for the unborn child because at 7 months, that child is viable outside of the womb. So it is a full life. Mm-hmm. So he is now charged with double murder, kidnapping for murder, and these expose him to special circumstances charges and perhaps the death penalty.
So assistant principal Robert Marks told authorities that he last saw Lintel at Walmart around 8 p.m. on June 8th, and that they just met there to talk. Now, this is important because June 8th, this is the day before the little girl is found missing. So he's claiming that's the last time that he saw his girlfriend, mistress.
But the cell phone tells a different story.
Yes, it does. His cell phone and her cell phones track. Right. They show that they traveled to Iberville Parish later that night before returning to the area where the car is. So basically, both their cell phones, right, tracked in the same locations, and ultimately both somehow ended up back at the car. So police know that's not true, and they're using the GPS information.
You know, this is the thing, and I gotta say this because I just don't get it. You know, and people still have not realized that there's so much technology now. There's so many cameras in this world. There's so much, cell phone towers and your phones getting leaked, your locations on your phones and things of that nature. I don't understand how any motherfucker with a device can try to lie about their location. It's just ridiculous to even, and don't get me wrong, like it is cases out there that's unsolved and things like that. But a lot of times when people get caught, 9 times out of 10 is because of technology and cameras and shit. Hold on, y'all. Oh, here fell off. I didn't even know it. Okay, you back?
Yep.
And I just don't understand why people don't realize that. Like, you got your phone, you done took her phone, and your phones are tracking together, and you think you're gonna be able to lie about your location, and I just don't get it. I don't get it.
To search those areas where they believe the two of them were, which could lead them to either where she was killed or where her body is.
Yeah.
Well, the search continues. It doesn't turn up Lintel until a farmer goes out to an irrigation ditch, the lake that the little girl mentioned.
Yeah.
5 days later, on June 14th, in an irrigation ditch near a sugarcane field, is where Washington was found. She was dead. So was the baby she was carrying that was 7 months old. She had been shot in the head at close range. So police believe that Robert shot Lintel in the head at a landfill, then carried her body, put her back in the car, which it would explain why there was so much blood in there, then drove her body. This is the amazing thing, though, Mike, with the little girl in the car the whole time. Right? Because she heard the gunshot. Then she sees mommy coming back into the car. Then she sees mommy being carried out. Then mommy doesn't come back. He drives her home, essentially, and just leaves her in the car. She could have walked in traffic. She could have been killed. She could have been abducted by someone who would have killed her, right? A million things could have happened to that little girl.
And he was probably hoping they would have happened. Unfortunately, that is one of the tragedies, is that knowing that she was a witness, perhaps.
And that's why I say, like, he didn't give a damn what happened to her, honestly. But that's why I say, and I can't listen. I don't have a mind of a killer. I got some thoughts that go on in my head, but I can't take a life. Like, but what I'm trying to figure out is why he did all of that and then left a witness. And let me be clear. I thank God that he did not harm that little girl, even though a lot of stuff could have happened to her afterwards, and it did. And God was with her. Her mom, spirit and everything was with her. Hey, Danielle. But the thing about it is, like, I don't understand why. And that's why I say dumb. Just stupid to think that. I'm guessing he didn't think that the little girl would be able to verbalize what the hell happened. He just would. He just probably didn't. Just Lord.
He was hoping that something bad would happen to her and she would not be found, or she would not be able to be a witness against him.
Oh, that's so diabolical. I hadn't even thought of that.
I laugh so because he went to talk to her at the landfill. He says he had no thought of killing her. It happened because of what she said at the landfill. Well, no, because my thing is this. Why are you at a landfill anyway? Like, honestly, why are y'all at a landfill? How did they end up at a landfill? Maybe that was the spot. I don't know. Maybe that was the meetup spot. I don't know. But then how he got there? Well, she had to pick him up because he didn't have a way back out of the place. This is crazy.
Yeah. But it's not, it's just, it makes me wonder. It makes me wonder, though, whether on some level this was a crime of passion, because it's hard to imagine that he would have sort of planned this and gone through with the plan to murder Lintel in front of her 3-year-old daughter and not have a plan of how to deal with the daughter. And so either this was a crime of passion on some level, they had some kind of an argument and things went south and he suddenly came up with the idea of this being a solution, or he went
there with a gun. Okay. He had to have had the gun. He went there with a gun. So I get crime of passion, but I feel as though in the back of his mind, from the time he decided to meet up with that woman, he felt like if he needed to take her out, if he couldn't calm her down, if he couldn't talk her out of calling his wife, and da 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 da, then he was gonna do what he had to do. You know what I mean? I feel like if you go to meet the woman with a gun, it could be either. It could go either way. I don't know.
Plotted this out, and this little girl was something he hadn't thought of, and that suddenly she was a part of this, and he didn't know how to deal with her.
It's all makes my stomach turn, no matter how you look at it.
So horrible.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, geez, Louise. Well, so again, the daughter is a witness to all of this. Oh, let me ask you this, Mike. She's 3 years old. She's not going to be put on the stand. I mean, by the time, well, actually, no. Now she's about.
Now you got to remember, this broadcast was done. Thank you, T. This broadcast was done a day before my birthday, December 18, 2020, which was 2 years ago. Okay, the trial didn't take place until last year. And so at this time when they're speaking, it had not been to trial yet. But we do know now that it's been a trial. He's been convicted. He got life. But this is before all of that happened, y'all.
7 years old, because 4 years have passed.
Yeah.
Would she ever be put on the stand?
So generally with child witnesses that age, there are a number of things that you need to consider. And first and foremost is whether they are competent to testify. And that is whether at that young age, because 3 is very young, they understand the difference between the truth and a lie. Okay. And they understand what the value of that difference is. So that is one of the early things that law enforcement does before they even interview these kids. And those interviews are often captured on videotape. So if in fact they questioned her and it appeared clear that she understood what the truth and a lie is, and she were testifying honestly and spontaneously as to what she knew and saw, they could use that evidence to then restore her memory as she gets older. So to make sure, and this might sound awful to some viewers, but to make sure that she doesn't fully forget and become incapable of testifying, they may find ways to preserve her memory and make sure that she is able to testify 4 years later to what she witnessed at 3 years old. And those interviews are often conducted by non-law enforcement individuals, by social workers or child psychologists, people who have a specific expertise in interviewing kids of that age. But that is very young. We more commonly see young witnesses who are 7, 8, 9, 10 years old and more clearly understand that difference between right and wrong, the truth and a lie. But a 3-year-old, they are just reaching that place of consciousness. And like you said, they're becoming very talkative. And
so it is possible, Mike, that they could then just use those videotaped interviews as evidence and not have to put the child on the stand.
It's possible, but it's challenging because the child is technically available as a witness. And the defense should have the opportunity to question that witness. And as indelicate as it may seem, and as awful as it may seem, this defendant still deserves a defense. He still deserves an attorney. He still deserves the opportunity to make any arguments that he thinks are relevant, if not to his innocence, perhaps relevant to the charge itself. For example, if this were a charge of a crime of passion, that impacts what he ultimately gets convicted of. But the other way they could use this testimony, the statements of the child, in a really smart way is, as you know, all out of court statements are hearsay. Every statement that's made out of court is hearsay, and often it's not allowed in a trial. Okay, but there is a non-hearsay exception here, which is when statements are made to show why certain actions were taken. So maybe perhaps the police can use the statements of the little girl and what she said, not for the truth of the matter asserted, but how those statements impacted their own investigation. And that would be an exception to the hearsay rule and may allow those statements to come in without ever exposing that little girl's cross-examination.
Yeah, because that would definitely be very traumatic, as if it's not traumatic enough.
Very traumatic and very hard for a defense lawyer, not something that any of us would like to do.
Right. So then 2 days after Lintel's body is found, this would be now June 17th, Robert Marks is arrested on charges related to Washington's 3-year-old. It's very interesting, right? They're still trying to figure out how she was killed, who may have killed her. But what the authorities decide is, you know what? We can arrest him because of the little girl, because the little girl says she was abandoned by him.
Yeah.
So they arrest him for aggravated kidnapping, desertion of a child. And then, of course, he would be facing the more serious crimes of potentially first-degree murder. And of course, it is.
They couldn't prove that it was premeditated. That's why they went with second degree. I get that. Because the fact of the matter is, you can go either way. That's like I said earlier. You can go either way. It could be premeditation. It could be crime of passion. It could be, either one of those. So I get that. I get it. Hey, Real Queen. Okay, sweetie. Have a good day at work. I bet you at work. Have a good night at work.
Is it called feticide? Am I pronouncing that?
Yes.
Or feticide?
Feticide, I think, but it's honestly not a term that I've come across very often. I mean, these types of cases are unbelievably rare, where children are killed in the womb and considered victims of murder. They're not cases we see every day.
No, and sometimes they just go ahead and they charge murder on that child, not just feticide.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes, but I'm
not
saying... Yes, that's right.
They use a different term is what I'm saying.
That's right. That's right. Here they're saying that, and this is probably based on the statements and the understanding that he didn't want that child. They're saying that he was specifically, intentionally committing, I'm going to say feticide, as opposed to the child just dying as a collateral consequence to murdering the mother.
So now we go from June to October. Robert Marks is indicted on second degree murder and then the murder of the baby. He claims that he's innocent. His attorney says at that time, look, the two of them were friends, but that was it. And he would not at all address the allegations that Lintel was carrying his baby. Now, this is what I find interesting, and this is like a pet peeve of mine. Why second-degree murder on this?
Because first-degree murder very specifically requires premeditation, which is some degree of time in which a plan is made and executed to kill someone.
So he had a gun. He shot her.
Understood.
Right?
No, that's all understood. But if you don't really have extremely specific facts to really show that planning and execution, it is very common for the prosecution to start with a second-degree murder charge while they develop the first-degree murder investigation. Because here it was something, like I was saying earlier, Anna, that if you don't know the exact circumstances of what happened, it is possible that he carries a gun with him, that he had a fight with her, that she was being, in his mind, unreasonable, that he was in immediate danger of her reporting this to his wife and his entire marriage falling apart, his entire life falling apart. And he immediately immediately acted upon a passion to get rid of the problem. And he pulled out his gun and he shot. That is a possibility. That could be a defense. But this was not planned. It was not premeditated. And then it falls down to second-degree murder. And what will get you even more upset is that it could even drop further to a voluntary manslaughter, which carries significantly less time than a second-degree murder, because at least in California, second-degree murder still can carry life. A voluntary manslaughter, which is what his defense attorneys most likely will argue for, does not carry life and carries significantly less time.
And what we have not heard yet, even though there have been several indictments, and we'll explain that process in a bit, is we have not heard really much of the forensic evidence, any DNA, any of that. But it, what was she fighting? We haven't heard that.
Yeah, it is really interesting though, because over the last, especially the last decade or so, cell phone records have become a kind of DNA evidence to track someone and where they are, what they're thinking through text messages, social media. So that in and of itself, that cell data information, the defense will definitely get their own experts to verify whether these towers were accurate in determining where each of them were, Robert and Lintel. But it could really help develop the prosecution's first-degree murder theory, showing that he lied about when he last saw her, okay, and that could show consciousness of guilt, consciousness of a plan, and also that he drove her around to different locations, showing a premeditation to kill her. So these cell phone records, because I've been doing this for over 20 years, and when I first started, there were not these cell phones that could be tracked everywhere. There were not smartphones. There was not social media, and all of these ways that law enforcement has now to develop their cases and to find their suspects and prosecute them.
Well, here's something else that frankly does shock me. During this entire thing, his wife, yes, his wife stands by him.
Oh,
It's like, really, lady?
What?
Okay. Now, get this. So the principal's wife, Kayla Marks, decides to go on the Nancy Grace show. Let's all bow to the great goddess of crime.
I got to find it. Somebody find it. Somebody find the wife on Nancy Grace, honey. E. Brooks, where you at, girl? Ooh, Lord.
Reporting Nancy Grace, right?
Nancy Grace.
Nancy Grace. She has my respect without question, all right? She goes on the Nancy Grace show and she tells the world, Mrs. Marks tells the world that she doesn't believe that her husband killed the teacher. Because my guess is it's probably impossible for her to imagine, I would agree, if someone that close to me could do something as heinous as this, right? It's not like it's a struggle and one fell down, bumped their head, right, fell off a cliff kind of thing.
But it also shows how men like Robert Marks victimize women over and over again in different ways. When the wife herself becomes a victim of his manipulation, his lies, perhaps his emotional abuse of her, or whatever he does to try and persuade her to stay on his team. So it's just men like that. It is not uncommon for them to target and pick out women who are susceptible to that kind of, we'll call it BS.
Yeah. Well, I don't think that Mrs. Marks actually helped him. I mean, definitely it was a curiosity. It's like, what? Well, what does she see in him and why does she believe this? Okay, so she doesn't believe that her husband killed the teacher. And she said that her husband was truly a loving man and a great husband. But here is where I think she may have actually hurt her husband's case. So Nancy Grace, in full-on Nancy Grace style, presses the wife about where was he on the night of the murder? Was he with you, Mrs. Marks? No.
Now this is my thing. This right here. This broadcast was done before he went to trial. So you mean to tell me that? Thank you, E. Brooks. Send it to my email, boo, so I can pull it up on my phone. You mean to tell me this woman did an actual interview before he went to trial? Shouldn't she should have been what they call shutting the fuck up? You know what? Send it to my email, boo. Let me put my email up. Ooh, don't echo. Let me see. All right. There you go, boo.
to a friend's house to watch a basketball game. Nancy Grace is like, really? Where did he go? What is that friend's name? And Mrs. Marks, the wife, never, ever was able to say who that friend was. It's unclear whether, one, she doesn't know the person's name.
Yeah.
Two, the person may not exist, right? Three, she may very well be thinking, wait a minute, in that moment where you're being pressed on television to tell the truth. So if that's his alibi, and here's the other problem I have with that, right? The cell phone data does not show him sedentary somewhere.
Yeah.
That would corroborate that he's sitting in somebody's living room watching a basketball game.
Right.
So
That's
for
right.
Mrs. Marks to go on television, defend her husband, and then try to provide such a shady alibi.
Yeah. Yeah. But also from her perspective, in terms of how useful a witness she would be for the prosecution, she might be able to say she was nervous on TV, she was confused, she was thinking of another night, a different friend. The more powerful evidence is what you talked about.
Listen, y'all, the fact of the matter is this, and we're going to listen to that interview. The fact of the matter is this. Now, we say we should be, Miss Lady Sunflower, I'm a woman, but some women are just dumb. Listen, so, I am that one person that could say, that will say, and that actually says, like, you really, 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 really can't say for fact what you would do in a situation. Now, people gonna have their strong, convictions about what they will not tolerate, what they will not do, and this and that and the third. But I'm gonna be honest, and because this is the thing. Say for instance, the lie that you tell, the false alibi, the false alibi that you came up with would have gotten this man off. Now, in getting him off, that means that since you stood by his side, that you two are gonna be together. You mean to tell me you will be able to live the rest of your life with a man because you're lying. So if you had to lie for him, you got to figure that it's a possibility that he did the crime because you're having to lie for him. Now, could you really live the rest of your life, so-called life, with a man who you don't know for facts did not kill this woman and her unborn child? And then we're not gonna even talk about the fact. We're not gonna even talk about the fact that he cheated on you, ma'am. He cheated on you, not just with her, but another woman. Okay. The man had you, the pregnant girlfriend, and another woman. Cheated on you, got this woman pregnant. So you mean to tell me this wife, after all of that, stuck by his side and said he didn't? Child, let's listen.
Out right after that, which is again that DNA style evidence of cell phone tracking, which is.
And then the thing about it is they did a DNA test on the baby. So now, even if you don't want to believe that he killed the woman, now you know for facts that he did have an affair with the woman, okay, and got her pregnant. Come on, bruh. I mean, I get it that you can't say what you might do in a situation, but I know me, man. I know me. Now, I'm going to be honest and say, because y'all know some of my story. God knows y'all don't know all of my story. I have a story. But I am that woman that stuck by a man that had a child outside of our marriage, okay? I was that one, so I can't sit up here and say, oh, I wouldn't stick by a man that cheated on me and got another woman pregnant, because I've done it. It's no secret, I've done it. But knowing that this motherfucker could have killed a pregnant woman with his child, nah. Nah. I got to be in some sort of type of, I don't know what state of mind. I don't know what state of mind I would have to be in to say, oh, I'm going to stick by this dude and I'm going to lie for him. Nah.
Very, very hard to defend against because it's become very sophisticated, very reliable, about where someone's phone is pinging and what sort of circumference of area they're in based on where
Y'all,
they're.
please make sure y'all hit that like button. Please feel free to support the channel. Please. Thank you. She had to be digmatized. Girl, listen. Shit, you can get digmatized somewhere else, man. But you digmatized, but you don't know if this man ain't gonna decide tomorrow or the next day to kill you. Come on, there ain't that much dick in the world. It ain't no dick in the world that's that good. I'm sorry.
Phone is.
So while that sideshow is playing out on television, the prosecutors and the courts get into a dispute about which parish or county has jurisdiction over this case. So all of a sudden, everything is shifting in the legal system. Now it's not so much about, the murder and everything. It's like, where did the murder occur? Because a judge rules, look, I realize you have this indictment. You got this indictment from this parish, but there is some question as to whether the murder occurred elsewhere and her body was found elsewhere. Therefore, we need you, meaning the prosecutor, to go back to a different parish and sit.
To me, that shouldn't be too hard. The truth. But to me, to figure out where the murder occurred wouldn't be too hard. I don't know, because if they met at the landfill, if the phone's pinged at the landfill and the baby said that's what she heard the shot, and the man shot the woman, brought her back to the car. I mean, it happened at the landfill. So to me, I don't know. Maybe it's something I just don't know. But to me, that wouldn't be hard to figure out, because I know her body was found somewhere else. But I think that from what we've heard so far, that maybe she was shot at the landfill. I don't know.
Convene another grand jury and go through this all over again. Can you imagine? This is what the government and what prosecutors have spent the last 4 years on.
Yeah.
Convening 2 grand juries that ultimately came up with the exact same conclusion.
Yes.
Right?
But jurisdiction is a legitimate legal question. I mean, it's considered a technicality by people. But
I don't understand, Mike. Explain to me. So does it
be true? You always welcome to hit the link if you want to. I know you usually don't, but if you want to, you're always welcome to hit the link. Anybody else want to hit the link? Y'all hit the link. Okay.
Matter where the murder is committed versus where the body is found?
Absolutely. It's because there are 2 different crimes. One of them is the murder itself, and jurisdiction can be about county, about city, about state. And the other is transporting the body, which is not the murder. You're transporting the body into another county, and that becomes its own separate crime of where you're dumping the body. But it's where the murder occurs, which is what triggers that jurisdictional question of who has the authority to arrest and prosecute.
So if a body's found in California, but the person was murdered in New York, the murder trial is going to be in New York and not in California?
Right.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's where the murder occurred. New York has jurisdiction.
Interesting. A crime reporter learns something every day on one of these podcasts. Fascinating. Well, ultimately, Robert Marks was indicted again. Same charges, same thing. And that's what triggered us to revisit this case now. So just recently, grand jurors in Louisiana indicted Marks on a series of these fresh charges, including, once again, second-degree murder, feticide, aggravated kidnapping, 2 counts of kidnapping, obstruction of justice, and 4 gun charges. Marks is being held on $885,000 bond. He is yet to enter any formal pleas on these new charges. However, on the original charges, he did enter a not guilty plea. So we will, of course, assume for the purposes of this that he's going to plead the same thing and is going to maintain his innocence in this case. Fascinating. This case is fascinating to me. And we're going to watch that one, and we're going to keep everybody updated.
And I am sure that as we speak, his attorneys are very much focused, perhaps not so much on his innocence, but on the degree of culpability here. I think that's what his lawyers are probably focused on. Just a thought.
And how Mr. Robbie ever thought that this was a good way out of his problem is beyond me.
Me too.
Now on to our second case in Florida. This is where a
All
woman...
right, we may cover that later. I don't know. I haven't listened to it. So let's go to this wife, y'all. And they don't have an update on this channel as far as when he went to court and everything. I don't see one now. Remember when we was watching when we was doing the other live, they updated and said, they told us about the 2020, show. So we're gonna listen to that on part 2. But for right now, let's go to this wife and let me get a picture of her. Thank you, Ebrooks. Let's see. This is crazy. Yo, we got time. We just at an hour and 30 minutes. Let's see. What in the hell is my phone doing? That's what the fight is about. Was she murdered at the landfill or was she murdered when she was dumped? They have decided. And I get it, but to me, from listening, just me, from listening, it should have been determined that she was killed at the landfill. Yeah. Hey, Charlene. Now, this is an article. I need the damn video. Wait a minute. Let's see. Is this the whole video? Oh, you working? Supposed to be working, huh? I think that's an article. Let me see. Hold on. I sure hope I can find this video. Y'all went to the article or a video when y'all clicked on that link. What that man name? Mark Roberts. What was his name? New York and New Jersey. Oh, yeah. They play the video of Nancy. Do they play the entire interview? Let me go back to it. Play it. Okay, I will.
News Channel. This is Now News at Noon.
Thanks for being with us this afternoon, folks. I'm Jaron Jordan. Lauren Westbrook has the day off. We'll start with that high-profile murder case that shook the capital city and has now grabbed national attention. HLN's Nancy Grace is looking into the murder of Lintel Washington, the Baton Rouge teacher who was 7 months pregnant and found in a cane field in Iberville Parish. WAVB's Karen Chawla appeared on the Nancy Grace Show last night discussing this case, and she's here now with more. Karen, we're also hearing from Robert Marks' wife.
And this was the first time, Jaron, so this was pretty big. And for those people who actually saw this show yesterday, it was the first time we've heard from the suspect's wife, Kayla Marks. She stands by her husband, Robert Marks, saying that she does not believe he could do this. Now, Baton Rouge police say Marks allegedly shot and killed Lintel Washington, who was 7 months pregnant with his child, left her body in Rosedale in Iberville Parish, and it wasn't until at least 6 days later when a farmer spotted her. Washington's body had to be identified using dental records, and last night we heard from Kayla Marks for the first time with CNN's Nancy Grace questioning her specifically about her husband's whereabouts the night Washington was killed.
He's a loving husband, a loving wife. I just don't see how he could do it. I'm really just at a loss for words.
The night that Miss Washington was murdered, where was your husband?
He left to go watch the basketball game with a friend.
What friend was that? Did you know the friend?
I did not.
Did he give you a friend's name?
She doesn't know the friend, Nancy. And she's
Thank you,
answered
but
that.
I don't believe you or her, so could you let her answer? If she
Obviously,
doesn't
if
know the
she's my
name,
client, his wife, I've gone through this story with her many, many times, and she does not know the person.
did he give her a name?
Please answer your next question.
So I guess that means you're not going to let her answer whether he gave her a name or not. That's fine with me because she can
doesn't
be
know the
asked that
name,
on the
Nancy,
stand.
with all due respect.
Okay, I'll move to my next
She
question.
doesn't
since
want to be
you
badgered.
don't want
We
to
didn't come
answer
here
that.
for that.
Did he come home that night, ma'am?
Yes, he did.
Now you can see that did get a little bit fiery between that lawyer Lionel Burns.
Hold on. Let's listen to that
Yes, he
again.
did.
Hold on. Can I go back to it? Hold on, y'all.
Did he come home that night, ma'am?
Yes, he did.
Ooh.
Now you can see that did get a little bit fiery between that lawyer Lionel Burns. They're actually
I want this whole interview. Oh Lord, the offense. I gotta have the whole interview, y'all. Let me see. I got a picture of it. Shit, you know what? They do favor the wife and the wife and what her name? Lintel. They favor. They do. He has a type. Hold on, y'all. What her name is? Kayla Marks. Ooh, my phone tripping. I would keep looking, keep talking. You looked and looked. Girl, I want this entire. And then that lawyer, ooh, baby, ooh, Lord Jesus. Let's see, Kayla. I don't think it's on YouTube. I don't think it's on YouTube, y'all. I'm gonna Google it, but I don't see it on YouTube. Mm. Nancy trying to interview the wife of the lawyer. Yeah, the lawyer is going to like questions, for instance, that she may ask that he don't want the wife to answer. He's not gonna let the wife answer. Nah, that's what a lawyer is for. Um, yeah, I don't see it on YouTube. Let me see.
You probably got to go to hit Nancy Grace's show and type in that title.
I did. I typed in Nancy Grace interview with Kayla Marks.
Do it on Google. Google.
Yeah, I'm gonna do it on. Okay. Wife of man accused, interviewed by Nancy Grace. Let's see. I don't know why that interview wouldn't be up, but I just don't see it, y'all. I see the same clip that I just played. Wait a minute. Let's see what this is. This an article. Man.
person also has a lot of enemies, and their so-called loved ones often also hate them. As you know, love and hate is opposite sides of the same coin. Well,
you for your law practice is representing somebody, or your practice may be sued. Eric McDavid, partner.
That ain't it. I'm mad as hell. Y'all, I wanted to. We're gonna listen to that clip again if I can't find the full interview, but I really wanted. I really wanted to hear that. I'm gonna still look for it though, y'all. Even when I get off of here. Mm-hmm. Let's see. Now it's a lot of articles with the same clip. It's a lot of articles with the same clip, but not the full, interview. Let me see. Yeah, that wife.
WBRZ wants to highlight the unsung heroes with Salute to a Teacher.
Log on to WBRZ.com to nominate your deserving teacher with a short essay or video. Salute to a Teacher is proudly supported by ExxonMobil.
His wife Kayla says she is stunned by the arrest of her husband.
She described to legal commentator Nancy Grace, the man she loves is not a man accused of murder.
He's a loving husband, a loving wife. I just don't see how he could do it.
Kayla Marks standing by her husband Robert Marks, accused of killing his pregnant girlfriend and dumping her body in this Iberville Parish field. Kayla was grilled by Nancy Grace.
A lot to be slapped with, the fact that your husband is charged, A, for having an affair, and B, for a murder.
Baton Rouge police say Kayla's husband Robert shot Lintel Washington in the head to conceal their love affair.
Did you have any idea that they were having an affair?
I did not, not one clue.
Police are still looking into the timeline, trying to figure out when Robert Marks left his home. According to police, cell phone records put Marks near Rama and Rosedale, then back to Baton Rouge 15 minutes later to these apartments. And hours later, neighbors wonder upon Washington's daughter in a blood-soaked car. Marks' wife tells a much different story of that night.
Where was your husband?
He left to go watch the basketball game with a friend.
What friend was that? Did you know the friend?
I did not.
About a week later, sugarcane farmers found Washington's body in this field, badly decomposed from the South Louisiana heat and humidity. Today, in response to the Nancy Grace interview, Baton Rouge police said they will not be commenting on this ongoing investigation.
And Robert Marks is in the East Baton Rouge Parish Prison charged with murder, feticide, and kidnapping.
Wow. Okay, y'all. That's it. Oh my goodness. I'm gonna still try to search for that interview. I don't know if it's out there. It wouldn't be so hard to find. I don't know if I need to go on CNN because Nancy was on like HLN or something like that, wasn't she? I don't know, but I'm gonna look for it. I need that interview. Damn it. And also now this is the thing. I don't know if I'm gonna do part 2 tomorrow or Saturday because I did want to get into Miss Rosie's case, but I think I need to. It is yours truly. I think I need to finish this one off. I really don't want to. Once I start a story, I want to finish it because I've have a bad habit of starting stuff and not finish it, and it irks me. Because she was canceled, maybe ebooks, maybe. But thank you for trying though for me, sweetie. I appreciate it. So I think if we come back with part 2, if I choose to air to play that 2020 interview, it'll be tomorrow, and then we'll cover Miss Rosie's case on Saturday, and then we have My lamp won't come on. Did I unplug it? Like, did the power company cut my lights off? Like, you know I'm a broke bitch. I think I unplugged my lamp by mistake, y'all, because I can't see. It done got dark. I don't know. Is my lamp unplugged? Hold on, y'all. I got technical difficulties and things. Maybe need a light bulb. Yours truly, I don't know, because it's unplugged, y'all. I don't know how I did it, but it's unplugged. Okay, there we go. I have light. All right, so yeah, so if I come with part 2, it'll be tomorrow on this one, y'all. And then Saturday we'll do Miss Rosie's story. I'm still looking into that one as well. And then I got an email. I think I got 2 emails on 2 stories that some true sippers want me to check out. And then I got this one given to me today. Yeah, in a D'Angelo apartment, right, E-Brooks? So yeah, so y'all listen. I'm so glad y'all are supporting this commentary. I appreciate it so much. Thanks for the help. E-Brooks, thanks for the help. Thanks to the other true sippers that send me stuff. And like I said, y'all, when y'all come in the chat and let me know to ask me to look something up. I'll try to, I got my trusty pen and paper by me. I'm gonna write it down. And if anybody sees anything they want me to talk about after the live, please send it to my email and we'll get into it. So we got stories to cover for the next couple of days. So with that being said, I appreciate y'all for joining me today. I think I'll be back later on the After Hours channel. That's my plan. If nothing, comes up or anything. So we can get in, because I got a lot of YouTube content creators debacles that I want to get into. So that being said, I'm gonna get off of here. I love y'all so much. I appreciate y'all supporting these lives. Make sure you hit the like button if you didn't on the way out. I will see y'all later on over at Moneyboy Trays, and then I will go live in the After Hours after that. Is Moneyboy Trays still up here? I don't know, because I got this button up. I can't see. All right, Trey. Thanks for joining. We'll see you tonight. Yeah, work, y'all. But anywho, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Y'all please be safe.
I know y'all taking the night off.
Oh, really?
I think.
Well, text me when you know for sure, and I'll go ahead and go live on the After Hours. I know y'all probably out there. Hey, Miss Linda. Bye, Miss K. Have a blessed night. Same to you, yours truly. Look, I know y'all probably out there Christmas shopping and things of that nature. Y'all, please be careful. Please be careful out there. This world is so cruel. You feel me? Thank you, guys. Thank you. And so, yeah, y'all be safe, be blessed, never stressed. All right. Shout out to my true sippers that supports this positive commentary. Shout out to my moderators, and also shout out to my monetary contributors. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. And I will see y'all later on. Okay. With that being said, we out of here, y'all. Until I see y'all later. I'm sure I see y'all out here in these streets. Y'all be safe.
My feet up. My feet up. My feet up. Hey, yo, keep back with my feet up in the trap. I'm doing me. My feet up. I'm doing me. My feet up. Hey, yo, keep back with my feet up in the trap. I'm doing me. Keep my distance from these suckers. I can't let them ruin me. Drug dealer, pimps and hustlers, they the ones influence me. 13 jumped off the porch with drugs is influencing. Hey, yo, keep back with my feet up. Keep back with my feet up. Keep back with my feet up in the trap. I'm doing me. Hey, yo, keep back with my feet up. Keep back with my feet up. Drug dealer, pimps and hustlers, they the ones influence me. Way to work naked like a skinny dipping, no crossing needed for this crucifixion. Fold out, couple screws missing. my distance from these suckers, I can't let them ruin me. Drug dealer, pimps and hustlers, they the ones influence me. 13 jumped off the porch with drugs, this influence